Hello and welcome to this heart and hips Vinyasa yoga flow. We're going to start at the back of the mat in a cross-legged position or just with one foot in front of the other, and begin to roll your shoulders back a few times on your own timing. And then once you've done that, just settle into Sukhasana and begin to focus on your breathing and any intentions that you may have for this class. We'll be focusing on opening and strengthening our hips, as well as opening our heart and chest, while also maybe releasing some stiffness in the lower back. Continue to breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your nose, and focus on how your body feels right now before we begin. And also focus on your internal state right now in this moment. And begin to flutter your eyes open, bringing your awareness back into the space you're in. And you're going to place your right arm on the ground as you reach your left arm over to the right. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. Left hand on the ground, right arm stretches over to the left, giving us a nice side body stretch. Repeat again, stretching to the right. And then again, stretching to the left. And now we're going to return to center. We're going to come onto all fours in tabletop position. And from here, we're going to do some cat-cows. So inhale, arch your back, look up. Exhale, round your spine, gaze at your belly button, belly to spine. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, look up. And exhale, round. We're going to do 2 more of these. And on your last cow pose, begin to round your spine, coming back into cat, but this time begin to round forward into upward facing dog. And now shift your hips back into child's pose. Round forward, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, rounding back into child's pose. Continue these spinal waves on your own timing, matching your movement with your breath, and feel free to add any other movements that feel good in your body. Once you come into your last upward facing dog, shift back into child's pose, and we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Begin to lift your head up, and you're going to shift forward into upward facing dog again, and come down from here onto your belly. Roll your shoulders back, and you're going to push into cobra pose. Come back down. We're going to come into upward facing dog one last time. thighs off the mat, and shift back into downward facing dog. Begin to pedal into your feet, maybe rock side to side, do any movement that feels good. And from here, come onto your tippy toes and bend into your knees and step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to Tadasana. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to do side body stretches, so reach your arms up again. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and stretch over to the right. Come back to center and repeat on the other side. Left hand grabs right wrist, stretching over to the left. And now come to center. Reach your arms up once more. And we're going to come back into chair pose, but with these airplane arms facing the back of the mat. Now you're going to bring your arms forward, and we're going to stay here in chair pose just for a little longer. Begin to push into your feet, rise up into Tadasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to do a modified Vinyasa, so step back to plank. Shift onto your knees and lower yourself down. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, press up into Cobra. Exhale, lower down. From here, push yourself into downward facing dog. Pedal out in the feet a little bit. And we're going to come into three-legged dog. So lift your right leg up in the air and bring it to the outside of your right arm. We're going to come into lizard pose here. You can keep your left knee on the ground, or you can tuck your left toes under and lift your left knee off of the mat for a deeper stretch in the hip, or you can just keep the knee lowered. You can move side to side here, stretching deeper into your left hip flexor. And now we're going to push into our hands, shift back and straighten the right leg. Your hands are going to be on the inside of your right leg, so this is like a half splits variation. And from here, we're going to shift forward into our lizard lunge once again. And now we're going to come into our half splits variation, so shift back until that right leg is straightened and stretch into your right leg, flexing your right foot. And we're going to flow forward once again into our lizard lunge. And from here, press into your hands, tuck your left toe under and bring that knee off the mat, and step your right foot back into downward facing dog. We're going to repeat this on the other side. So left leg comes up into the air, three-legged dog. You're going to bring that knee on the outside of your hands and come into lizard lunge on the left side. Again, you can come up off that knee and tuck your toes under for a deeper stretch, and you can rock forward and back in that stretch as well, or you can stay down. And we're going to shift back into half splits on the other side with our hands on the inside of our left leg. I think I had a bug on my back here. I felt something crawling, so that's why I'm touching my back. That's not a part of the practice. And from here, you're going to shift forward into lizard lunge. And now shift back into half splits, straightening your left leg, flexing your right foot towards your face. From here, shift forward into lizard lunge once more. And we're going to come into Malasana at the top of the mat. So turn your left foot out, tuck your right toes under, lift that knee off the mat, and step your right foot to the other side of the mat. Both feet should be turned out, and you can place your hands in prayer position, opening your knees with your elbows, and just stay here for a few breaths. You can rock side to side if that feels good in your hips. Now begin to push into your feet and rise up into Tadasana, heel toeing your feet to the center of the mat. Stretch back and bring your hands to your heart. And now from here, we're going to rise our hands up once more. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step into plank. Shift forward, come into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to come into three-legged dog again, so lift your right leg off of the mat and bend into your right knee, opening your right hip, and your hips should be stacked on top of each other. Now bring that knee into your chest and step it to the top of the mat. Pivot on your back foot. We're going to come into warrior one, arms above your head. And from here, you're going to interlace your hands behind you and push your chest forward, rolling the shoulders back. And now we're going to come forward into humble warrior. So begin to fold over that right leg, and you're going to keep your hands interlaced behind you. Now ground into the strength of your legs as you push yourself back up, let go of the bind behind you, and come into warrior two. Now flip your palm as you begin to shift forward and come back into reverse triangle. And now we're going to shift forward and bend into the right knee, coming into side angle pose. You can rest your right elbow on your right thigh if that's more comfortable, or you can have your hand meet the mat. And from here, we're going to come into wide-legged forward fold. So as you come up, press into your right leg and pivot onto that foot so that both feet are turned in, and fold over your legs. And now we're going to come into Skandasana, side lunge. So inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into the right knee. Come down and come onto your left heel. You can have your hands in prayer position at the heart, or you can leave them down. And now we're going to shift to the other side. So bending into your left knee, coming onto the right heel, stretching out your right hamstring. And now you're going to shift over to the other side again, bending into your right knee, straightening your left leg. And we're going to flow to the other side, bending into your left knee, straightening that right leg. From here, we're going to come into a lunge, so pivot on your right foot, coming onto your right toes. Bring your left knee into your chest and up into three-legged dog. And bring your left knee to your left elbow and come into pigeon pose on the left side, facing the back of the mat. You can stay up here on your hands, or you can come onto your elbows, folding over your left leg. And we're going to stay here in pigeon pose for a few breaths. Breathe deeply into any stiffness that you may have in your hips, and breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Begin to bring your head up and start to gently come out of this pose. From here, you're going to come onto your left hip and swing that right leg around and over the left knee, crossing over it. We're going to twist so left arm reaches up, and you're going to grab onto that right knee. You can also hook your left elbow onto the outside of your right knee for a deeper twist. If you want a deeper twist in your spine, take this variation. Otherwise, if you want to stretch your outer right hip, then take the other one. Now place your left hand back onto the mat and swing your right leg around and back behind you. We're going to come into three-legged dog. So tuck your right toes under, come up off your right knee, bring your left knee into your chest, and push back into three-legged dog with your left leg in the air. Now bring your left knee into your chest again, come into a lunge at the top of the mat and shift into wide-legged forward fold. Now shift over to the top of the mat, bend into your left knee, and bring your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold. Inhale, come up into Tadasana, exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank, shift forward, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to repeat that sequence on the other side. So left leg comes up into the air, three-legged dog. Bend into that left knee, opening your hips, stacking the hips. And begin to bring your left knee into your chest and step it to the top of the mat. Pivot on your right foot and come up into Warrior One. We're going to do that same heart opening bind on this side. So interlace your hands behind you and push your chest forward as you roll your shoulders back. And you're going to come forward, folding over your left leg into Humble Warrior on this side. Now ground into your legs and push into your feet as you bring yourself back up. Let go of the bind, coming into Warrior Two. Flip the palm, shift forward, and come back into reverse triangle. And bend into your left knee and come forward into side angle pose. As always, you can rest your left elbow onto your left thigh. We're going to come into wide-legged forward fold again. So press into the legs, bring yourself up, turn that left toe in, and fold over your legs. Now begin to bend into your left knee, coming into Skandasana on the left side, straightening your right leg and flexing your right toes. And shift over to the other side, bend into your right knee, straighten your left leg. And flow to the other side, doing the same thing. And now we're going to take Skandasana on back to the right side. From here, we're going to come into a lunge at the back of the mat and bring your right knee into your chest and shift it into three-legged dog. And come forward, right knee to right elbow, come into pigeon pose on the right side. Again, you can stay up on your hands or you can come onto your elbows, folding over your right leg. If you were folding over your leg, now begin to bring your head up, push yourself out of the pose, come onto your right hip and swing your left leg around, crossing over the right knee. Bring your right arm over and hook it onto your left knee, twisting over to the left. Again, you can hook your right elbow onto your left knee for a deeper twist in your spine, or you can stay exactly where you are. Now place your right hand back onto the mat and swing your left leg around and behind you. We're going to come to three-legged dog on this side. Tuck your left toes under, come up off your knee, bring your right knee into your chest and into the air, into three-legged dog. And now bring your right knee into your chest again, step it to the top of the mat and shift into wide-legged forward fold. Now turn towards the top of the mat as you bend into your left knee and bring your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands up above your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back into plank. Shift forward, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, come back into child's pose. And just stay here for a few breaths, beginning to relax. On an inhale, lift your head up off of the mat and come out of child's pose. We're going to come to the center of the mat on our knees, and we're going to come into Ustrasana, our camel pose. You're going to start by placing your hands onto your lower back and roll your shoulders back a few times so that they're far away from your ears, and begin to shift back. Go as far as is comfortable for your body, and you can stay here if full camel is not in your practice. If it is, then bring your hands to your feet. And you can also release the head back if that feels good for you. If not, you can keep the head lifted. We're going to stay here for a few breaths, and if at any point you feel uncomfortable or it feels like too much, then please feel free to come out of the pose and come into child's pose. To come out of this pose, bring your hands back to your lower back. Begin to shift up, bringing your head up as well, and come to sit back on your heels. Hands on your lap with your palms facing up, and just breathe and feel the effects of that heart-opening pose. Now place your hands onto your heart and begin to feel your heart beating underneath your palms. Connect with your heart space, breathing into this area, maybe visualizing a white light getting brighter on each inhale. From here, we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, so bring the soles of your feet together and interlace your hands around your feet. And you can stay up here if this is a good enough stretch, or you can begin to fold over your legs. If you're folded over your legs, begin to gently bring your head up and come out of this pose. And from here, we're going to come onto our backs. So bring your feet to the top of the mat and begin to lower down onto your back. And now you're going to bring your knees into your chest and gently rock side to side, massaging your lower back. This should feel really good after being in camel pose. From here, we're going to come into a reclined figure 4, so bring your right knee into your chest as you place your left foot on the mat. And cross your right foot over your left thigh, and you can bring your left knee into your chest for a deeper stretch in the right hip. You can begin to rock side to side or take any movement that feels good for you. From here, we're going to come into figure 4 on the other side. So bring both of your feet to the mat and bring your left knee into your chest and cross your left foot over your right thigh. And you can bring your right knee into your chest to stretch the left hip out even more. And now we're going to come out of figure 4, so bring both of your feet to the mat. And from here, bring your knees into your chest again. And we're going to come into happy baby, so grab the outside of your feet and raise them into the air. You can rock side to side here if that feels good. Now begin to gently let go of your feet and bring your knees into your chest one last time. And now from here, we're going to come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. If there are any other poses that you want to take, please feel free to do so. But from here, we're going to gently lower our legs and bring them down to the mat. And you can take up space here, letting your legs come out wide and your arms come out past the mat as well. And begin to bring your attention back to your breath, and also become aware of how your body feels now after the practice, and become aware of how you may feel internally after this practice as well. Become aware of spaces in your body that might have felt tight and now may feel a little more open. And just begin to rest here and let everything that we did on the mat begin to settle into the body as you return to a neutral state. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to stretch. Just breathe and relax. Begin to make small movements in your body, moving your hands and your feet and deepening your breath. If you want to stay in Shavasana for longer, feel free to do so. But as you move your body, come on to one side in fetal position, any side that feels comfortable for you. Begin to come up into a cross-legged seat and place your hands on your knees and take a deep breath in and out. On an inhale, bring your hands up above your head, and exhale, hands to heart. That's it for today's class. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this flow, and I'll see you in a video soon. Bye.